12th. Yeah, sorry about the get up straight from the gym. I was trying to start back the live Mevo YouTube tonight, but we're having some difficulty. That's why I'm starting early, because I'm trying to see if I can get it up and running. But that didn't happen. So we didn't get that. So in the meantime, we will have to work around it, work without it. And Maya will give the YouTube followers their bit. Sorry about that. We will get it all put together at some point. We promise you we will get it put together at some point. Let me tell you a little story. Last night I was watching a series on Netflix called The Hunt. The Hunt is a brilliant show to watch, and it teaches you about the animals and all the animals and how they hunt and all that stuff. In The Hunt, there was this segment about the rainforest. And in the rainforest, they say the most vicious hunter, the most accomplished hunter in the rainforest, you wouldn't believe, of all the predators in the rainforest, the most successful of all predators in the rainforest is the soldier ant. And the soldier ant in the rainforest moves with one consciousness. And every morning, 1 million soldier ants leave the hive and head out across. Felicia, if you're seeing it live on YouTube, because I wasn't getting it, so I didn't know. Heads out across the forest floor hunting. And just now, I think we are live. And I don't know which one of the devices giving me my live. See? Bacchanal. Yeah, we'll come back to the story about the soldier ant, because you had to hear that story. Yeah, but I just want to check and see where my live streaming is and how is it going. Because if we are happening, I'm not seeing it on my page. Are you all seeing it on your page? Yeah? Give me an idea. And I'm sorry for the delay, but anyway, it is still 7:57. We early. It's not yet 8 o'clock, and we're working to get this thing up and running. Felicia messaged me, are you seeing it? Are you seeing it still running on YouTube? Because I have no control of it where I am right now. So I don't know what would be running it. And, okay. Good night, Peppers. Ali G. Good night, Ali G. Alright, so we will shut down YouTube until I could finalize what exactly is going on with that, and I apologize for that. I will streamline all of my Wi-Fi to one device, so we will get maximum output. Anyway, soldier ants, and I want to come back to this, because the most powerful, the most accomplished predator in the jungle, in the rainforest, is the soldier ant. The soldier ant. And 1 million of them leave the hive every morning, and head out over the forest floor, the rainforest floor, to get food for the whole hive. 1 million of them. And to watch these ants work together, because if they reach a gap where they're walking, ants build a bridge out of ants. If they reach a situation where they're threatened, frontline ants step back, and the real warrior ants come to front. They target everything, and one of their targets is black ants' nests, because they want the larva, the pupa, and the eggs. And the black ants only have one defense for the soldier ants, and that is the black ants all of them come out and stand up and block the hive. And the soldier ants, whoever in front, locks pincers with the black ant and jump off the tree. And it rains ants. It literally rains ants as they clear space for the rest of the ants, because they say, if the soldier ants target you, that's it, you're done. At the end of the day, all 1 million of them head back, same way they come. The same way they come, they're going back to get back to their hive. In that 24-hour period, 1 million ants, moving as one, just took out of the rainforest 30,000 animals. From locusts and bat and rat and you name it. The 30,000, that's the target. That's the goal. That they take out of the rainforest and go back to their hive. And I was watching that last night. I was thinking, these are ants. These are ants. And ants every morning could send 1 million ants out to get 30,000 animals to feed everybody else and come back home. And Trinidad can't send a boat to Tobago and bring it back, boy. Well, yeah, share the video. It is 8 o'clock on the dot. Howard Chinley, owner of Synergy TV, y'all want to hear thing? How small people are in this country. Because Howard Chinley's wife get catch breaking 4 laws, and because Howard Chinley got on like an ass with the police officer and went to try and pull a stunt in the police station, Howard Chinley vexed that we side with the police officer. That is why this little jackass child came cold. I find out this today and I had to laugh. And then I laugh, and that's why I tell people, oh, don't give Stephen Reese no pressure for me, please. Stephen Reese is a pepper. Stephen Reese is a patriot of this country. And at some point, he and they going to cross a line where he can continue. And I know it must come. Breaking Dawn can't last much longer on that station. So when you see Stephen at a stand up and tour line, the man have bills to pay too. But I want to tell you something. Synergy TV, Howard Chinley, this is your bullshit now. Your friend have 700 followers. I have 50,000. Who's rich bigger? Who's rich bigger? She's have a video and 6 people watching. And 5 of them is peppers are telling Daniel Jackson, and the rest of them ignore this child, man. Let me go forward.
Ain't no bad man. Bad man is making for decisions. You don't need anyone. He only needs God. He ain't no bad man, boy, now. He ain't no bad man.
But we will follow it up, Howard. I want to know that those tickets get paid. I pay mine. Hope your wife pay hers. Get a message today. My 9-year-old met you at the Parliament protest. You told him he would be the next Prime Minister. He went to school and started telling his friends about you. He gave all 3 of your names, even to his teacher, and told them to Google it. Out of the mouths of babes. We start the conversation now. How could Faris Al-Rawi be ramming an anti-gang bill down the nation's throat while Marlene McDonald, very close associate of Berkey Burke, she had one person to bring her to in president's house, she take Berkey Burke. Berkey Burke, who Keith Rowley fired Marlene one day after she was sworn in the second time around. Fired her because of Berkey Burke, because Berkey Burke is unknown. He said it, not me. Him, Keith Rowley. He bring her back while Faris ramming anti-gang bill down on their throat. Keith Rowley meeting with Abu Bakr. Come now, man. Where we going? Where we going? You're being led astray. These people making asses of everybody. How is Keith Rowley meeting with the Jamaat al-Muslimin? What is going on in this country? Are they setting us up to fail? Is this a Venezuela in the making? Is the government about to work against the people? What is going on? What is going on? What do y'all see from where y'all sit? Because from where I sit, all I see is banditry. Today I was listening to a song by Sting called Russians. And it had me thinking, I'm going to be all over the place tonight, and I'm sorry. But I'm trying to give you all a lot of stuff because it's been a while since we chatted. And this is just, I just want to read one part of the song for you to put in context. In Europe and America, there's a growing feeling of hysteria, conditioned to respond to all the threats in the rhetorical speeches of the Soviets. Mr. Khrushchev said, "We will bury you. I don't subscribe to this point of view. It'll be such an ignorant thing to do if the Russians love their children too. How can I save my little boy from Oppenheimer's deadly toy? There is no monopoly on common sense on either side of the political fence. We share the same biology, regardless of ideology. Believe me when I say to you, I hope the Russians love their children too." There's no historical precedent to put the words in the mouth of the president. There's no such thing as a winnable war. It's a lie we don't believe anymore. Mr. Reagan says we will protect you. I don't subscribe to this point of view. Believe me when I say it to you. I hope the Russians love their children too. We share the same biology, regardless of ideology. But what might save us, me and you, is if the Russians love their children too. And I'm thinking, because I got into a conversation with a guy in the gym and he talks to me regularly. And while talking to him, and I was saying, these people who benefit from the mismanagement and the corruptibility and corruption that is Trinidad and Tobago, these who we call our 1%, and the contractors, the financiers, the backers, the Chamber of Commerce companies, all the shameless, shameful advantage takers. I wonder, these people all love their children. The country that we're living in is not a peaceful country. It is not a safe country. It is not an enjoyable country because of you. Because of you. History records for the victors. Winston Churchill was a war criminal. They just get an Oscar reading about Winston Churchill. The people of the world, India, China, America, anywhere there is great wealth on top, there has to be mass poverty below. And that's why a lot of these people who have climbed to the top, pissed with what we're talking about. Because we're talking about a rising tide raising all boats. When Stuart Young used my quote, Stuart Young was bullshitting the people. Stuart Young don't want a rising tide to lift all boats. Apparently, his father is the financial advisor to Colm Imbert. That is why the country running like a shit. Because they're trying to run the country like a bank. You cannot run a country like a bank. All you will do is destroy the economy. They've done that. They've destroyed the economy. Stuart Young and his papi. Trinidad and Tobago, you have to understand this. You have a gang by any other name in government. You have a gang in the parliament. You have gangs in the parliament. A red gang and a yellow gang. You know them by their colors. You know them by their gang signs. One have a Balize and the other have a rising sun. That's the gang signs. We have two gangs in the parliament. And those gangs' business have nothing to do with you, regardless of what you think the Constitution say. And you have to accept that. Because those gangs were given authority over the laws that govern your life. And those gangs cut those laws to suit themselves. It is why they get tax breaks on foreign imported cars in the millions of dollars, and you don't. It is why they don't go to the public health. They don't go public health. Their gang set the whole thing up to benefit them, not you. And you have to understand this. Because whatever was wrong with us, whatever made us believe that we could, as people, survive under this madness, is coming to our fore now. You see it. When the media and anything that could pass as media, because John Prince in TAT, he ain't give 2 hours about what's going on in Synergy TV. They could eviscerate my name and character. He don't care. Because as long as it's PNM benefiting, he is part of the PNM gang. And that's what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago. You're dealing with gangs. You're dealing with gangs. So you're trying to stand up against Jim. And you turn it to John and Mary, who are public office holders, who's supposed to, by law, by the definition of their office, they're supposed to stand with you against Jim. But they're standing with Jim because they're part of a gang and you're not in it. And you're not in it. Gangs running the country. Gangs. Gangs running Trinidad and Tobago. And we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, we have to decide if that's good enough for us. If that's good enough for us. Because this is a country where a drug mule in a private hospital had a surgery done that removed the drugs. And drugs and drug mule went their way. And not drug mule, not doctor, not hospital, nobody charged. Everybody okay. How is this a country ruled by law when that much law breaking could take place so bold-facedly and nobody held to account? In Florida right now, they're trying to fire the sheriff. They haven't fired him as yet. For the slow response, they had police in that school within minutes, and the people think the response wasn't good enough, and they want to fire the sheriff. And they're marching to fire the sheriff. This is Trinidad and Tobago, where your police don't have to answer for anything, for anybody. Cases drag on for years. We get a little piece in the news, a little sensationalism. They cut you up, they use a pool table, they discard the money. The husband look through the window, he say he see, they say he see. We talk a little bit, and then nothing. Case goes nowhere. The case goes nowhere. So Selwyn Richardson could get gunned down in his yard and dead. Fire Bunny, Dana Sita Hall. Midnight, Friday night, in the busiest one-way street, heading to the busiest avenue in Trinidad and Tobago, the road that connects Foreshore Freeway and Wrightson Road to the busiest part of Trinidad and Tobago on a Friday night. Dana Sita Hall get gunned down, and nobody see, and nobody know, and that ain't going nowhere. Come now, man. Come now, man. This little girl in IAMS, this little girl, what do you call the girl in IAMS who they find in the freezer in IAMS? That ain't going nowhere. Asami, Nagasaki, whatever her name is, that ain't going nowhere. Akil Chambers, they moved the boy body 24 hours later and put it in the bottom of a pool and say he drowned. That ain't going nowhere. Where we going? Where we going? And listen, I know a lawyer who tell me, and I can't give you too much of his information, but he was kidnapped and buried. He get out by the grace of God and survive. Another lawyer get gunned down in Grand Bazaar. Grand Bazaar. You cannot leave Grand Bazaar in a hurry, even if you had a helicopter. Grand Bazaar is traffic in 50 directions. No matter where you turn, you can't leave Grand Bazaar. So, and a man in broad daylight pumped bullets into a lawyer and left Grand Bazaar. And even if you get out of the maze that is Grand Bazaar with nobody stopping you, you immediately on a highway in any direction. The easiest thing to do is find you. They can't find them. They can't find them. So where we going? The coroner told the people of Trinidad and Tobago the man who killed Asami is a left-hander and he missing teeth. bite the girl on her cheek. People saying they seen the man walking around in town. And next man say, the fellas who rape and kill Akil Chambers, them get turned. Well, one dead from AIDS and the other one, the banker. Scotia Bank again. Tell me now. You're watching the video. We bubbling, we like it, we saying a good night, we talk little shit, I say something, you say something, call and respond. And then we say that was good entertainment tonight. But the purpose of this show is not entertainment. The purpose of this show is to tell you, forget the bullshit and the propaganda that's being passed on to you on traditional media and come and let us discuss what is really going on in the country. Because I'm still asking Trinidad and Tobago, and if the PNM and the UNC supporters love their children and love daddy and mommy and their cousin and their friend and their sister and their brother, if the people who voted and continue to support the PNM and the UNC love their family too, they would join this conversation. Because you cannot consider yourself part of the gang if when your family member drop down and you go looking for gold card and brass ring, you sitting down on hard bench in a general hospital hoping. Our constituency caretaker for Port of Spain North, her child broke her hand and she went to Mount Hope and was in Mount Hope for over 8 hours waiting until she write me and we light it up, and then all of a sudden, wherever all the people she called, and all of a sudden everybody started getting involved. And she just make a joke and say she pull a shift. She and she whole family, she and she husband, all the children, everybody pull a shift in Mount Hope. What would be their situation? What would be their situation? But if you think that you still supporting these parties, let me just ask you one question, because you know what? I want to say, forget me. Forget me. Forget me completely. You see all the memes and all the attacks they're attacking Philip Edward Alexander. They don't stone Barren Tree. They know why they need to destroy my voice. And you know why I'm still doing this? To show the rest of you all, to ask with them shit snakes, stand up, speak out, you will survive it. Let them attack you, let them bullshit you, let them send the Kim Coles and the Marcia Brave Boys and the Alan Karims and the Inshan Ishmaels and the Dane Wilsons. Let them send all of those little jokey fools. You'll survive. And if enough of you stand up, all of a sudden, that bullshit will stop. If you, PNM and UNC supporters, if you love your children, why are you still supporting parties that have failed this nation for 56 years? And you have to answer that in the quiet of your mind. You have to decide. When things go wrong in this country that puts people at risk. I remember Basdeo Pandey said on a night to Winston Dukaran when the COP cost the UNC the election in 2007. He said, Winston Dukaran, all of your tears and all of your cries when they rape your family and kill. And you know what I wanted to say? And Basdeo Pandey had the audacity to tell Winston Dukaran, look in the mirror. And I want to ask Basdeo Pandey, when you were Prime Minister, why you didn't fix these things? You went on a building spree that made billionaires. Names like Gillette and Carlos John and Dupre. Everybody run the run. Everybody had a time. Caroni Rum Stocks was going. The bandwidth Rum Trinidad was going. They nearly sell the Pitch Lake. I understand the Pitch Lake going. Petrotrin and NGC was going exactly what the PNM doing. So all the yellow belly beaters that crying blood now, miss me with your bullshit. Because all your people was doing it too. You see, it's two gang. It's two gang. And whichever gang in office, them raping Trinidad and Tobago, them pillaging, them plundering, PNM and UNC supporters, Manning, Kamala, Rowley, 12 years. $720,000 million spent. What do we have to show for it? Don't tell me the buildings in town. Don't tell me Sapa, Napa, Tapa. Don't tell me the Kuva Hospital. Don't tell me Taruba. Because all of that we still owing the Chinese for. Don't tell me about the highway, the highway to Point Fortin. Because apparently we owe in Brazil. And all the contractors ain't get paid. Plenty contractors still sitting down there, drive people out of business and are hearing government ministers cutting deals with people who are owed money for work they do and telling them 50% kickback and you could get paid. Cut your bill in half. A businessman tell me today, and this is a businessman I never expected to talk politics with me. And he just talk, like he see me, and he just wanted to talk. He's a man you would think is a 1%er. And he just vent his spleen. And when he done, he tell me, he say, you don't stop what you're doing, you know. Because you doing something here for this country that this country never had before. You opening doors and building bridges for people who didn't know that they could stand up and speak out. You doing something different, and I'm asking you not to stop. And I want to tell you, brother, I ain't stopping. I ain't stopping. I told somebody else tonight, the reason we gave all of our policies into the public space so early is to empower the people. Kill who you want. Eviscerate whose character. Defame who you want. You still had to come down and talk to the people about the police service. Because we have 5,000 police and New York City have 65,000 police and we have 1 million people and they have 8.5 million people, but we had 500 murders and they only had 291. Not per capita. They had 291 murders out of 8.5 million people, and out of our 1 million people we had 500. Don't give me no percent, no per capita. They have 65,000 police and we have 5,000. And they get meetings to discuss how to lower that murder rate. And our murder rate pass with a we jamming style bullshit talk. We bullshit, we laugh, we say yellow say red, red say yellow. All of we talk a piece of shit and we go on we way. Same commissioner of police acting 10 times now. 10 times now. Same commissioner of police acting 10 times now. Same Chief Justice, same DPP. Nothing going on in the country. The Parliament is regurgitating bullshit legislation. They took 1.5 years to repass a law that they know failed. They know it failed. Before it starts. Before it started, it failed. They know that. Faris Al-Rawi said in the Parliament, this anti-gang bill is not the magic bullet. This anti-gang bill is not the panacea and is not the solution. The same Faris Al-Rawi that tore the nation, forcing the government, the opposition, to support them with the nonsense of this same anti-gang bill. So what is the purpose of it? And I asked publicly, if you write a bill, if you have a bill that was law for 5 years and failed, what changed? What changed? If you had a bill that was law for 5 years, what changed?
Anti-crime maneuvering in anti-gang legislation is not imagined.
What changed? The UNC passed a law that they put a 5-year sunset clause on. A sunset clause meaning at the end of 5 years, the law will die, expire. Some junior PNM union lawyers come to tell me that's not what a sunset clause means. It means the government will revisit it. That's bullshit. They did not revisit when this law expired on its own. They didn't revisit then. So don't tell me they're going to revisit it. But I want you to hear Faris' own words, because I'm tired of the bullshit now. And Trinidadians, you all have to decide what you all going to do with this. What you going to do? And if all you want is stunt and circus, you'll get that. You'll get stunt and circus. But this morning I had to tell these people who talk in Black Caucus, I have a track record of service, orphans, homeless and disabled. Check and see who makes those up while all this stunting and hoping to get $5 for all your weave. But we will deal with all that. I don't give all that too much mileage. I want to stay focused on the issues of the country. And I want the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
That the anti-crime maneuvering in anti-gang legislation is not the magic bullet. It's not the panacea to crime.
You heard that? Let me hear it again.
It's true that the anti-crime maneuvering in anti-gang legislation is not the magic bullet. It's not the panacea to crime.
Revisit it. But I want you to hear first.
Anti-gang legislation. That the anti-crime maneuvering in anti-gang legislation is not the magic bullet. It's not the panacea to crime.
You hear him?
But I want you to hear.
You hear him?
Maneuvering in anti-gang legislation is not the magic bullet. It's not the panacea to crime. It's true that the anti-crime maneuvering in anti-gang legislation is not the magic bullet. It's not the panacea to crime. It's true that the anti-crime maneuvering in anti-gang legislation is not the magic bullet.
Listen to the first words he
It's
said.
not the panacea to crime. It's true that the anti-crime maneuvering in anti-gang legislation is not the magic bullet. It's not the panacea to crime. It's true that the anti-crime maneuvering in anti-gang legislation is not the magic bullet. It's not the panacea to crime.
I repeat
It's
it,
true.
Styles. Tell all they hear it.
Anti-crime maneuvering in anti-gang legislation is not the magic bullet. It's not the panacea to crime. It's true that the anti-crime maneuvering in anti-gang legislation is not the magic bullet. It's not the panacea to crime. It's true.
So if Farris know that the anti-gang manipulation, because that's what he said, you know, maneuvering, manipulation, if it is not the panacea to crime, and if it is such a waste of time law, that under the UNC, they had that law for 5 years, and of every arrest that they made under the anti-gang law, under the UNC, they cost us money. Hundreds of thousands of dollars were paid out to people because it was a failed law. We bring it back. We bring back the same failed law. Bring back a failed law that not one conviction. Bring back a failed law that the government and the opposition know can't work. How you justify that? How? That is what's going on in the parliament. 41 of them. Have been hit. So the madman went in the parliament to ram an anti-gang bill down the country's throat to call it the anti-gang law, to say that will solve the gang problem in Trinidad and Tobago, despite the fact that 5 years of UNC having the same anti-gang law got 0 convictions, all of the arrests were thrown out, those people were allowed to sue the state, and now you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, paying for that madness, they bring back this stunt. Again, the sunset clause. The last time 5 years, this time 2.5 years. The question I am asking again, if this is a good law, we have laws on our books since the 17th century. If this is a good law, in Trinidad and Tobago, the Postal Services van has more right of way on the road than any other vehicle, including police, fire, and ambulance, because a letter could start and stop a war, and that is still law. If the law is a good law, why build into the law a clause that expires the law dead in 2.5 years? Why? Is it a stunt? Is it a way to give government power over people to threaten and abuse office? The Commissioner of Police is on record for saying that a specific stay is not recommended, that an arrest should have an open-ended detention. So what exactly is the point of the courts? What's the point of the courts? If your government pass a law where police could arrest without warrant or evidence and then hold indefinitely, what is the point of the courts? And if this is a nation ruled by law, isn't that breaking law? There is a law in Trinidad and Tobago called habeas corpus, which translates to mean bring the body. Bring the person before me. Don't stunt. That's what habeas corpus means, Don't bullshit me. Don't give me answers or excuses. Go wherever you have the person and bring them before me. That's what habeas corpus means. Because a judge is supposed to determine if the actions of law enforcement are in fact lawful. It is why there are levels of crime that the police cannot make an adjudication to arrest without the input of the Director of Public Prosecutions. And now, we've moved away from that. We are in deep, dark, and murky waters. And I'm writing the Senate to ask every senator to vote conscience, even if they fire you. Vote for Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm going to write every incarnation of the Senate. And I want every senator and every single person that they ask to serve as a senator, love your country. Love your children. Love people other than yourself. Love those without string and cables. Love everybody. Love the country enough to know the difference between right and wrong. And that government-sponsored wrong is still wrong. This lesser evil nonsense has left us ultimately voting evil. Trinidad and Tobago has a failed government. We in dire straits. People starving. 5,000 people murdered in the last 10 years. We don't have one proper paved road in this country, but there are entire media houses dedicated to Philip Edward Alexander. And I'm not in government. I'm not in government. You watching a country that has the best honey in the world, the best cocoa in the world, the second hottest pepper in the world, and we've not diversified back into agriculture, all the Caroni lands being stolen and raided to make traps for fools, being converted into housing development and malls. You're going to mash up the nursery so we can't get feedstock to grow seedlings and saplings. Tell me if that's making sense. Tell me what you think. Because This nation, I found out last night, Mexico makes $1.5 billion US exporting avocado. Avocado. And if you did not know this, we have an avocado in Trinidad which is called butter. And you could literally, when it ripe, take a knife and take the healthiest natural fat available and spread it on bread, non-dairy, butter. And it literally tastes like butter. Throw a little salt, a little black pepper on toast, and they're not nicer. And you eat that with anything. Listen, avocado. We have Caroni lands that used to be sugarcane that they could have put on 20,000 avocado trees. In 5 years, we export an avocado. Our budget is $60 billion or 8 billion US dollars. If we grow avocado, $1.5 billion, say we get $1 billion out of export, 1 billion US, we're looking for 7 billion. If honey, cocoa, pepper could give us a 2 billion because our cocoa is the best in the world, our honey is the best in the world, our pepper is the second hottest. Do you know that our pepper, our scorpion pepper, is the most in-demand pepper for use in the manufacture of pepper spray? Why we don't have a pepper spray industry in Trinidad and Tobago? Why not? But our coffee, our cocoa, our honey, our pepper could bring our next $2 billion. Let's be conservative. With the 1 billion from avocado, Saboka, butter, that's 3 billion out of 8 billion. We're looking for $5 billion to make up the $60 billion that oil and gas not giving me. Because I want to come to oil and gas just now for you. I want to talk Petrotrin and National Gas Company. But stick up in. Talk about this. Trinidad and Tobago is the only country in the world with an island pool. We don't market it. Our Pigeon Point and up that way. Go own it. That our no man's land. Sandals going and own that. Anything of any value in this country, our Pitch Lake. Our Pitch Lake supposed to earn us $1 billion US dollars a year minimum. That is 4. We just have 4 billion US. And we're looking for 8 billion, the national annual budget. We had 4 billion, cocoa, honey, pepper, pitch, avocado. We had $4 billion. If we market Tobago to cruise ship tourists, if we spend the $200 million that we need to spend, say $400 million that we wasted to rape the Aripo Savannah, to build a highway to nowhere for Rohan Sinanan and family. If we took that $400 million and we went to Tobago and we built 20 proper cruise ship marinas in joint venture partnerships with private sector investors from Trinidad and Tobago so that they operate and the country benefit, we could put 1 million cruise ship feet on the ground in the first year because Trinidad and Tobago is the only Caribbean tourist isle outside of the hurricane belt. So to put 1 million feet on the ground in a year would be easier target. Easy target. I ain't talking taxes yet. Our chief research officer just sent me that $4 billion is taxes. They're taking $4 billion. We ain't talking taxes. Because if we do it right, we don't have to tax you. Because if we put 1 million feet on the ground and each spend 1,000 US, that's $1 billion. We just at 5. We now at 5 billion US dollars. We only need 3 more. We ain't taxing you. We ain't talk oil. We ain't talk gas. We at 5 billion. We chasing 8. Here we go. Shipping turnaround. We spoke to you all about that. Shipping turnaround is a massive industry. Understand this. There are about 8 billion people on the planet, and shipping impacts every single life, every single day. You have to understand what that means. You have to move globally enough goods for 8 billion people from here to there and there to here and right around. What they need, what that shipping industry need, because a ship don't leave Trinidad with sugar and come back with silk and leave with sugar and come back with silk. That's not how shipping works. There are ships perpetually on the water. And you have sugar in Trinidad that you want to send to India. You have sugar in Trinidad you want to send to India. You put out a thing. Who passing near Trinidad that could pick up 500 tons of sugar and drop it in India? And somebody will contact you and say, this is our rates. This is our rates. We'll pick it up. We'll drop it. It's like shipping is the original Uber. And that's how it works. But I want you to understand, those ships don't stop. Those ships don't stop. What they need is bunkering, fuel, food. They need a place with, for staff, crew to come off and new crew to go on. It's about 20-30 people that run those ships and just go on as a team and come off as a team. If we were doing that, we could earn an easy $1 billion in Trinidad. In Trinidad. You see Point Lisas? If Point Lisas was redeveloped, because it's the leeward side of the island, so they don't have to contend with rough water. They're coming into a shelter harbor, and we could engage in shipping turnaround. We have natural deep water harbors in this country. We used to deal with the submarines in Macarip. We could get involved and get $1 billion out of that. We had 6 billion chasing it. 6 billion chasing each. Remember when we spoke about this country being the only Caribbean island, the only Caribbean territory outside of the hurricane belt? Do you know the size of the yachting and pleasure boat industry? Trillions of dollars. If we got back what came here naturally, it came naturally. We had to do nothing. Peaks and all these people build all these yacht service companies out of what just came and found us naturally. Again, hurricane don't hit Trinidad. So during the 5 months of the hurricane season, everybody who want to be cruising the Caribbean will be cruising by Trinidad and Tobago. And those who are not cruising will store their boats here. They don't have to wake up in New York or London or France or wherever and find out that a multi-million-dollar vessel wash up on a shore and mash up because of a hurricane. That's the next $1 billion. We had $7 billion. We sell no oil or gas yet. Tell me, you tell me, in a nation so properly positioned between North, Central, and South America, again, we are not affected by hurricanes. We don't shut down. If the country was properly managed and we didn't have traffic and flooding, and we could fix that in a heartbeat. If we didn't have traffic and flooding, we could operate Trinidad as assembly enterprise 24/7 for the biggest companies in the world. Apple, Samsung, LG. These people don't want to ship finished goods, you know. They don't want to ship finished goods because that's plenty more expensive. What they want to ship is parts. They want to ship all the screens and all the boards and whatever could build on the fly, whatever could assemble just before market, it can't spoil. Because a finished product, you want it finished and delivered without too much move around. That could put the 250,000 unemployed people in Trinidad and Tobago back to work. Right now, all you have to offer is tax-free, duty-free. Assemble it here and ship it in. Ship the parts, we provide the labor, assemble it, ship it out. Pay our people in US dollars. You see, Mova, Beta, Lavantel, and Silox, that will give them so much opportunity. And those people, you could then use this and develop them. India is the 8th largest economy now. Because India, 20 years ago, made themselves the call center and dregs of the world. And they started at the bottom. We will do whatever you don't want to do. And now, India owns more IT patents than any other nation on the planet. Just from this. Just from this. You could cut a deal with Levi's and sew jeans in Trinidad. Bring cut jeans and we just have a stitching factory. Just have 10,000 sewing machines. 10,000 people employed. As Kenneth Luke now saying, run our natural gas straight to that sewing machine factory. Boom, boom, boom. That is your last $1 million that you was chasing. Petrotrin is a drain on this country. And we have to confront and resolve that. Unless oil is at $60 a barrel and higher, Petrotrin loses money. Unlike countries like Guyana, who are $20 a barrel, they are at a profit at $20 a barrel. We are so overmanned in Petrotrin, so in debt in Petrotrin, so expense heavy that it takes $60 as a price point for us to break even, that will never ever be sustainable. We cannot do it. And now this government wants to spend a next $2 billion building a diesel plant, building a diesel add-on to Petrotrin. The rest of the world has turned away from diesel and is moving it away like leaded fuel is no more. Diesel is going to be no more. Toyota say this is their last year for manufacturing diesel. After this is done. After this is done. But you have a government that is pauperizing people. Business people cannot run their businesses. They cannot get foreign exchange. When they get their foreign exchange and they get their stocks, gangs come in and tell them, we have to pay with protection or this whole mall could burn down. The country is mismanaged. The country is run like a circus. You have to clean up the police service. You have to right-size the courts. You have to get this country back on track. The same New York City Police Department I told you about earlier, with the 291 murders for 8.5 million people. New York police is telling you, them don't afraid terrorists, them don't afraid bandits, they afraid internal affairs. Internal affairs have one work: lock up corrupt police. And you bring New York City Police Department internal affairs on contract in Trinidad and Tobago and tell them clean up the police service. You get it clean in 6 months because that's what they do. They know that better than anybody. So when the people tell you local police ain't go help them, brother, they don't need help. They may come in for help, and trust me, when local police see what these fellas know and how these fellas operate, they will trip over themselves to help and say, watch me, I am part of their madness. I honest, decent, law-abiding. Trust me when I tell you that. When you clean up that police service one time, the entire country start to work. You right-size that court system and you put a clock. Hear me, put a clock on cases. This one act will tell you which judges working and which judges playing. You put a clock on civil matters for 3 years and criminal matters for 5. And that clock for criminal matters includes appeal. So in a murder case, by 5 years it's done. We fall within Pratt and Morgan. Because if Trinidadians in a referendum say they want death penalty, hang all, empty death row. But stop the talk. Stop the talk. Stop the never-ending, never-ceasing bullshit. We like it so, we jamming still, them do it, we ain't do it, look who do it, yellow and steady, red and ready. Enough! It could fix. Every single thing could fix. Every single thing. Tobago could be up and bubbling in 2.5 years. Trinidad in 2. We could fix it. A progressive empowerment party government, as it comes to power, will shut down all the special purpose companies, all the VEMCOTs and UDICOTs and Sport TT and EMBD and EFCL, all shut down, all audited, all looking for criminal activity to bring people to justice, from prime ministers down. We want to know who was taking the people money. And when we get the information, we'll tell you, listen, bring the people money back. Bring it back. Step 1, bring the people money back. If you're supposed to get a 20 years, you'll get a 10. Bring the people money back. Bring it back. Shut down all those special purpose companies that were designed to end-run the tenders process. Set up a proper, robust, and transparent tenders board. Publish every single tender granted in this country above $1 million. And don't publish AEC Limited, DTL Limited. Publish the names of the directors and the shareholders. No more talk. No more hide and seek. If you're in it, stand firm. And our plan to decentralize all public works and public utilities to the 41 constituencies mean corruption is over. No more stunting one-man minister of works giving out contract in Point Fortin, Diego Martin and Tobago. To hell with that. You will have 41 constituency public works supervisors responsible for the work in their constituency. All work done within the constituency must be done by companies registered within that constituency, and they can't register in 2 constituencies. And your shareholders and your directors must be transparent, so you can't have multiples of companies. No more overnight Samis and Kusals and SIS and all this madness. No more Calcos. No more overnight Ish and Steve, your ass dragging today, your party come in power, and 5 years from now, you're a billionaire. No more that. It is time to make sure that like a rising tide raises all boats. All public works contracts is shared in the constituencies where the work is to be done and carried out by members of the constituency. People who live there. That's how you run a country like Trinidad and Tobago. And I want to tell you something. Just that, you see the $60 billion that they spend every year in this country, at least half is corruption. Just that plan with public works, just that plan with fixing up the police service and the courts, just those 2 plans will save us about $30 billion. Don't talk about public health. When we shut down the regional health authorities and decentralize authority for healthcare to the constituencies, then all of a sudden no one man making the decision, no 5 billion into a void. You will pay it broken down by constituency, and each of those constituencies have a supervisor for public health responsible for the constituents in their constituency. All of a sudden that makes sense. All of a sudden public health can't take $5 billion and give me nothing for it. All of a sudden, Trinidadians will be able to say, wait now, I like the hospital in Sangre Grande, I like the schools in Arriba, I like how the courts and the police work in Chaguanas. You can pick and choose where you want to live. There will be something called a quality of life index. You will be able to know where have crime, where have traffic, which schools performing, and you'll be able to choose where you want to take your family and go and live. All of a sudden, the entire country starts to work. You know why? You drive through fairways and you see houses in Trinidad in fairways, Sinclair and Goodwood Park, that's selling for $50 million. $50 million. The house ain't worth 5, you know. The house ain't worth 5. The other $45 million is area. It's area. Location, location, location. In a country where crime spits out little bougie areas that if you hear from it. I remember Stanley Augustus, my black partner from the radio. Stanley used to tell me, say, Philip, boy, they come from money. And Stanley say, boy, Philip, I live in Highland Park. And every night I walking through where I from and police stopping me. Trinidad fix. We play personality games. We play bullshit. We are allowed to bullshit. That's what we do. But we don't look at the 41 sitting down in the parliament. We don't look at the government ministers. We don't look at the senators. We don't look at the people actually responsible for doing the jobs now. We don't judge them by their failures. We listen to them talk bullshit and blame the man who was there before. Randall Mitchell is your housing minister. What has Randall Mitchell done since becoming housing minister that has made any difference to anybody in the country? Clarence Rambarat is your agriculture and food production minister. What has Clarence Rambarat done to assist anybody, to make any difference to the lives of anybody in Trinidad and Tobago, much less the country? Colm Imbert is your Minister of Finance. Besides destroying the economy, what has Colm Imbert done to make life better for anybody? Shamfa Kudjo is your Minister of Tourism and single-handedly destroyed tourism in Trinidad and Tobago. So she certainly did nothing to help nobody. Terence Dialsing is your Minister of Health and Ministry of Health in Trinidad and Tobago. This week here, the ceilings in the burn unit and the pediatric ward of the San Fernando General Hospital collapse on people on the beds. Terence Dialsing, what has he done since becoming Minister of Health to make a difference to anybody in Trinidad and Tobago? Anthony Garcia, Minister of Education. He was head of tutor and he was a principal of Fatima. What has he done of any value to the education sector that the Prime Minister, when he was opposition leader, could have called the children fighting in gangs and engaging in pornography videos in the classrooms as wild hyenas from an African jungle and Duncy Head students? What has he done? What has he done? You see, these are the questions that you're supposed to be asking. You're not supposed to be looking outside to see, wait a minute, the Progressive Empowerment Party lighting this place up. Philip Edward Alexander making some real sense. You know what I love to read? I love to read going through the threads. The attacking threads. They start off by attacking me. And the first 3 people say, yeah, he mother ass, yeah, nasty, da 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 da. And as it go down, yeah, but you listen to the man policies, you listen to what they're talking about, you ever stop to think that what they're saying might be making sense, and then it's pick up a momentum from there, and the person who posts the hate thread is disappeared. Because we can't be so anymore. We can't be so anymore. We can't continue to piss on our feet and call that action. Worse, we can't let somebody else piss on our feet and say, hey, you're giving me direction. Trinidad and Tobago needs an education system that makes sense, that starts with the abolition of the SEA. Every single teacher, every parent, every principal, every minister of education in this country's history knows that the SEA is child abuse. The same way the IMF knows WASA is the most corrupt organization in the southern western hemisphere. IMF have WASA name on a list. WASA. It is why when the People's Partnership government came out of office, the records office in WASA burned down. Check yourself. We reckon we serve. We reckon we serve. But if we don't deal with these things, because while we talking, children are wasting more valuable time in a wasteful education system and coming out at the other end with a certificate functionally illiterate. So they have no value to nobody. And when they look into your eyes and you look into theirs and you see that they need help that they should have gotten from the age of 5, they are now fully functional and fully grown adults, and they can't string a proper sentence together. 2018, when all of the information in the world is in your hand, in a device. Everything that is available to everybody is available to you in a device in your hand, and they don't know how to use it because they don't know what questions to ask. Instead of the education system teaching children what to think, it should be teaching them how to think. That's how you create critical thinkers. And once you give people that skill, get out of their way. They change the world. Because things that you and I haven't thought about is like the story about the truck that's stuck under the overpass, and they bring in all the engineers, and they're talking about all the different ways. They just need to clear it an inch for the truck to pass, and all the different ways they're looking to raise this overpass. And a little boy riding past on a bicycle say, why don't just let some air out the tires? The Americans spent hundreds of millions of dollars developing a zero-gravity pen that could write in space. Because in space, they have nothing to push the ink to the point. The Russians use a pencil. They spend the money at all. You have to get to a place where all of our people are treated as equal. And equal is not $5 for you, $5 for you, $5 for me. That's not what equal is. Equal is proper education for you, proper education for you, proper education for me. Proper healthcare for you, proper healthcare for you, proper healthcare for me. Affordable food for you, affordable food for you, living wage for you, living wage for you. That's equality. That's how you get all of the people at one level. We set a national target. We say, this is the poverty line. It is now 2018. By 2020, nobody should be living below the poverty line. And if we set that as a national goal and not just say it, not just bullshit and stunt and a set of pamphlet, identify the steps and bullet points. This is what we need to do to raise everybody's standard. We must make home ownership for all a reality. And we don't do it by building houses. We do it by making finance available so that people could build their own houses. Once they have a job that they could pay their mortgage and they could qualify, help them. Help them. Because the science shows that if you give people a home, they have a stake in the country, they'll defend it. All of a sudden, if the street is made up of 80% homeowners, you can't have gang house, you can't have drug house, you can't have bad behavior going on because these people taking care of their own street. This is my street, my house is here. And if you build the country around that, because the science shows that a strong community removes crime. You don't need lock up and lock down. Just redevelop the family, redevelop the community, redevelop the school. Make sure healthcare and culture get treated with respect. Make sure people can afford to feed their family so that the father and the mother don't have to work 3 jobs a day. 1 job. So that somebody there to raise and mold minds. We have Synergy TV. We have MTV and whoever else teaching children all the different ways to live as thugs and hoes. And nobody there trying to tell them how this is how you set goals for yourself. I remember one of the best pieces of advice I ever got growing up is plan your work and work your plan. That has never left me. I live by that now. Plan your work, work your plan. We need to get all of our people at a basic level from which they could start. We need to treat home ownership as a right. We need to treat affordable food as a right. Basic foods. You could identify 99 things that a minimum wage earner, after paying their $500 mortgage for their starter home, supposed to be able to buy for $500 so that they could feed a family of 4. That's the new nuclear family. A family of 4. Mommy, daddy, 2 kids. And if you make sure that that happens and they have money to save, watch yourself. Because all of a sudden the people in the country will start to raise their own standard. They're not looking for you for HTC, OJT, CPEP and URP. They want nothing from you. Give people hope and opportunity and get out of their way. But the PNM gang and the UNC gang have never seen it fit to put the people first. And as long as you all continue to support those 2 gangs, crime wins. As long as you all continue to support the red gang and the yellow gang, poverty wins. As long as you all continue to support the red gang and the yellow gang, healthcare in this country will be a mess. As long as you could find it in your heart to support either of those 2 failed organizations, we the people ain't going nowhere. And if that is what you want, if that's what you want for yourself and your family, know it and own it. But if you think that Trinidad can be a better country, stand up, get involved. This Saturday at noon, 19 Stanmore Avenue, we are at it again. Come out in your numbers, get registered. We are having an election, internal election, September the 15th, 2018, 6 months from now. Once you are paid up member 3 months before the election, you could vote. You want to run? Come on, run. Chairman, political leader, treasurer, throw your hat in the ring. The Progressive Empowerment Party is the most democratic party in this country. Vote them out. And utter disdain. Deputy Political Leader, National Security Advisor Dilwood Braffett asked a question a couple months ago. I want to ask the question again. If the PNM or the UNC ever had an intention to fix anything in this country, don't you think they would have fixed it by now? We've spent $720 billion in the last 12 years from Manning, Kamla, and now Rowley. In the last 12 years, 5 Manning, 5 Kamla, 2.5 Rowley, $720 billion. And we have nothing to show for it. Healthcare in a mess, education in a mess, national security to work, police service to work, the courts collapsing, people can't afford to buy food, people can't get foreign exchange, nothing in the public sector working, the country is falling apart. Where are we going, Trinidad and Tobago? UNC Live right now, same time with you. They have half the viewers. You're making a difference. Thank you for that, Michelle.
If for 20 years you voted them in, and these old retails, as soon as they win, they give you big words and enslave your soul, promising you roads and giving potholes. If they are the reason why the economy goes brown,
When you're voting,
if it is the passing laws that them alone can float, when you're voting,
vote them out.
if it is the building I saw,
East, West, North, and South.
they say where you vote them in, register and totally stay ignorant, rescue the country.
Good evening, sir. No rhyme, no reason, no rationale. Why we jamming so? Every day afraid to look in the papers because somebody dead and the act just hideous. It's like a war zone. You never know who next. No rhyme, no reason, no rationale. And just letting it go.
Vote them out with tempo, they happy with. Let's put our country together again. Vote them out with calypso and joyous refrain. Let's put our country together again. If their policy
If their policy
is a fallacy,
is a fallacy,
their bureaucracy,
a catastrophe,
if they cannot cope,
if they cannot cope
see so,
and you see them so,
you're only
then your only hope is for them to go.
if it is fabrication, these statements that they spout, when you're voting, vote them out. If it is a frustration, does make you want to shout, when you're voting, vote them out. Before they misuse out, T-Fox and London digs out.
Keep up the good work. Your views on the agriculture sector grab my attention, and I've always wondered why Trinidad and Tobago have not capitalized on this billion-dollar industry in terms of export. Trinidad and Tobago's geographical location makes it possible for a lot of produce to grow bigger and more nutritious than the US. Produce imports from Central America and Southeast Asia. We have similar views, and I wish you all the best in your campaign. These kind of messages that we get in now. The Progressive Empowerment Party is growing a mile a minute, and all the Kim Coles and all the King's Horses and all the Enchant Ishmaels and all of them, listen, all the former Phil supporters who come, get a little taste and trying to do things on their own. Hear me. We are doing this for all of us. This is not looking for a work. This is not looking for a contract or a shortcut or a job. This is not looking for pips or props. This is just us want a better country. This is us saying it is counterintuitive and common sense and it's easy to do. So if we know it's easy to do and we recognize that it is gang culture that has destroyed the country, red gang, yellow gang, then it is time that we took responsibility for our country. I want to tell you something. No politician could get away with what they've gotten away with for 56 years without your vote, whether you voted or didn't vote. At the end of the day, you are responsible by your volume of numbers, like the million ants that leave that hive every morning to go and find 30,000 animals to bring back to feed the hive. That's your job. Your job is to make sure that you are registered to vote. Your job is to come and join the Progressive Empowerment Party. When you come on a Saturday, you listen, you realize this is not an organization that talks at the people, but with the people. Our Saturday meetings is a conversation with the people. Our Saturday meetings at 19 Stanmore Avenue, and we're going to be having at least one, starting with one, Debbie Lee Jaikaran is responsible for one of our weekly Saturday meetings. Listen, the Progressive Empowerment Party is the only political party in the country that meets with the members and the public every single Saturday. Nobody else has ever done that for the entirety of 2017, and since 2018 started we missed one, and that one is because we had a PEP meeting in Talparo. But every Saturday, come down and see what an actual conversation with a political party you own feels like. Don't be fooled by the stunters in the PNM and the UNC. Them just there for the same play. Eat a freaking food. And if you settling for crumbs, what I'm telling you is this, yeah? Think about your family. Think about those who ain't getting the crumbs you getting. If you gain a little US under the table, think about all your family members, because when this government done, and they bust it and they gone, and all their contractors and financiers go and buy their big house in Miami and New York and London with your money and your children money, and you still here when the crumbs done, because you getting crumbs for 5 years, but them taken by boatload and go. So when the crumbs done and hunger hit you and your family, when you realize that the education sector failed your children and the health sector failed you in your later years, you would have realized that you weren't a victim, you were an accomplice and a facilitator. Do not enable the madness of the PNM and the UNC to continue. We have one shot, we have one chance. Don't let tribal, divisive, racist voting fool you. It gets us nowhere. Ignore the trolls, ignore the sycophants, ignore the paid talking heads, ignore the nonsense. Anybody that's not talking to you about ways and means to fix this country, ignore them. And when the PNM and the UNC jump out themselves and thief PEP ideas, ask them, how come you didn't do that before? We have a planned document out there, 21 PEP policies available to anybody at any time. You get it PDF, you can print flyers and distribute in your community. Debbie Lee Jaikaran is responsible for our once a month. We want a meeting in South, in Tobago, in Central, in the East. If you have a space, you can accommodate a couple hundred people, let us know and we're coming by you. Just reach out to Debbie Lee Jaikaran or Felicia Holder, chairman, and they will coordinate with you. Anybody interested in getting involved on the ground, we have a mobilization committee second to none. I mean, they're bubbling now. I thought that we were good, but when we said level up 2018, Shari Wilson took mobilization and made it into what it was always supposed to be. And I want to tell you something. I am extremely proud of this girl. I'm proud to be working alongside her, building the Progressive Empowerment Party. If you would like to work on the ground in your constituency to build out and make sure that your constituency works, reach out to Shari Wilson. She is responsible for that, and she will get you on board and involved. We, the Progressive Empowerment Party, are here to serve. You come on board and help serve too. We need financial help. We need your skills. We need your ideas. We need your voice. Most importantly, we need your vote. At the end of the day, you have the opportunity, whenever an election is called, to put to an end the we like it so and the we jamming still. From the moment there is an orange member in the parliament, the game will change. From the time we, the Progressive Empowerment Party, are responsible for the operation of the country, the game will change. We have no ties to the oligarchy. We have no ties to the contractors. We have no ties to the financiers. The Bankers Association and the Chambers of Commerce know that when we come, we will right size and make sure that we share the bounty of this country with everybody, because that was always the solution. We have plenty of people gorging and they're dead and leave it behind. But the actions, their life actions, destroying our country. We need to fix that. We need to undo and redo, and we could do it. We've shown you all the plans, we've shown you all the policies, to the point where it shocked them. It sent a political earthquake through this country, because now the people are waking up and they're aware that the things could fix. It don't take 15 and 20 years. It can fix in 6 months and a year. So now they're attacking me. Don't worry about that. Ignore them. They're small. They're irrelevant. And they're fading. They're like cancer under chemo. It go in. They're dying. Leave them. Have nothing to say to them. This Saturday at noon, 19 Stanmore Avenue, come out in your numbers. peptrinbago@gmail.com, that's the principal email address. peptt.com is the website. Pep app, P-E-P-A-P-P. That's the app. It's free to download at any of the app download sites. 3474-PEP. 3474-PEP could get you onto anybody. Listen, I would like to help and respond to the 100 million messages you all send in. But if you want quick responses, start to learn who in the party is responsible for what. And the best way to do that is come to a meeting on a Saturday. We will make sure that the next, if not the next meeting, the meeting that follows this, we are going to come down south with the Saturday meetings. We also want to let you know, our next meeting, our next public rally is in Port of Spain. The one after that is in Couva. The one after that is in Belmont. The one after that, I believe, and I knew the name today, I can't remember that one. But I just want you to know that we have everything planned and set up to come to put it together. This boy Gary Marshall, who just got let out of being blocked, is on the wall talking about pilot stupidness, and he's going to end up blocked again. And a lot of them, when they get blocked for good, they just want to cry. But this is not the purpose of a live video, to come and attack people and just attack and smear names and characters. That's not the purpose. If you have nothing to do with your time and your life, and you have no contribution to make to the country, then stay quiet, because it is better you leave your mouth shut and let people think you're stupid than open it and remove all doubt. Trinidad and Tobago, you have a responsibility to this nation and to all the voters and the supporters and the members of the PNM and the UNC. If you love your children, if you love your family, love your country, time to stand up and vote yourself better representation. It is time to vote yourself a better nation. It is time to get on board the Orange Army. Join the Orange family. We are doing this. And until I see you tomorrow, stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.